push-ups. I've been doing sit-ups. I've been doing chin-ups. I've been doing pull-ups. I threw up once, but I'm okay now.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ysn Power Hour, brought to you by our friends over at Toyota of Warren. DJ Yoakley with you here live from Athletics, the new home for your sports network. They're working on our stuff literally as we speak. The studio here at Athletics being built so that it will benefit so many student athletes that are rolling through this beautiful facility here in Columbia, Ohio. Got a great show for you today, talking about, this is like almost, I would consider it the Christmas Eve of YSN, because it is the All-Star Games tomorrow at the Beagley Center, live, 5 o'clock tip-off for the girls, 7 o'clock tip-off for the boys. And this is to me, one of the greatest events of the entire year, because you've got over 60 different schools that are being represented on the same floor, on the same gym, in the same community, and it's all for just representing their brand, representing their teams, representing their teammates, representing their schools, their districts. Some we're having 3 state champions rolling in, from Archbishop Hoban, so we're excited about that. And everything that goes along with it. We're excited to raise money for a good cause and brighten up for the kids, a cause that means so much to so many who don't even understand what this organization does. So we're looking forward to, again, continuing to shine a light squarely on these great organizations that help out the youth and people who may not even realize it on a daily basis. So brighten up for the kids. They do a lot with from my understanding, they buy a lot of toys and bags and make sure the kids are comfortable throughout the entire process of, being uprooted, or if I know they work with a lot with the Akron Children's here in the Valley. So looking to shine a light further on what they do and truly use our talents. And we have a lot of them here in sports for good and to better people's lives through what we do in sports. So that's one of the main kind of pillars that we have at YSN, is to continue to leave things better than we found them. So just so honored to be able to continue this tradition, the 3rd annual YSN All-Star Games. Again, tomorrow, Beagley Center, 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, sharp, hopefully. I say sharp, and it's probably about as sharp as a butter knife when it comes to that, because you know how it rolls. How it all happens when you get that many kids and people together. There will be 4 12-minute quarters that we're planning on for each game, awarding some trophies and some well-deserved accolades between the games as well. The big dogs of the Valley will be honored, as well as our MVPs and winner awards recipients. So make sure that you come in. $10 for adults, $5 for kids and students, and all of that money that is raised at the door will go straight to brighten up for the kids. And if you feel like making a donation at the door, you're more than welcome to do that as well. We'll have 50-50. We'll also have the ability to buy T-shirts, marking the occasion. So hopefully you guys are able and willing to do that. Shirts are really sharp, really, really, really sharp. Looking forward to it. Quinn Pushkar did a great job with the T-shirts this season. And on the back it says leaders. I think it's along the lines of leaders don't raise followers, leaders create other leaders, which is, I think, very, very applicable given a certain state of sports right now. Leaders need to create other leaders and not other followers. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing everybody, shaking everybody's hand and thanking them for being part of what we do on just a global scale. I mean, we're over 7.8 million views to this point this year, which has been absolutely just a blessing. And we're continuing to do that on a daily basis with shows like this and Anthony's show with Running Point, and Sam's killing it in the mornings, starting everybody's day off with a little bit of local sports. I love it. I absolutely love it. We're honored, and we're only going to get stronger and stronger as we move towards things like this in athletics. We've been so humbled by the help and the support and the hand up that Sean Wardle and his family has welcomed us to athletics with open arms. So looking forward to that and a lot more of this in our future. So if you can make it out tomorrow to YSU Beagley Center, please do. It's an open invitation. Come on out. Again, $10 gets you both games. So you're looking at $5 a game, essentially, to see some of the best athletes, the best basketball players this side of the Mississippi. So hopefully you all can make it. And we appreciate all of our sponsors. We have some surprises that are going to be there. I believe a certain female, I look at her as a role model. Zion Hensley is supposed to maybe make a little bit of a surprise appearance. They'll be selling her gear, which I will be grabbing a hoodie and a t-shirt in. I love I love what Zion stands for. Her dad also, just her whole family, just great people. She's a champion through and through. She's going to take this valley, put it once again on her back, like so many have done before her, and she's going to shine like no other has. So excited to see her, meet her in person for the first time tomorrow, hopefully. And then we'll go from there. But there's going to be some great people on hand tomorrow. Hopefully you can make it out to the third annual YSN All-Star Game. Girls begin at 5 o'clock, and the gentlemen begin at 7 p.m. If you've never been to an All-Star Game of ours before, I think you're going to enjoy yourself. There's going to be music. The concession stands will be open as well. So you'll be able to take part in all of that. Enjoy yourself. Make a night out of it. Make it a date night for those. I mean, listen, my kids are going to be there. My wife's going to be there. It's one of the best nights of the year for us to be able to celebrate sports in this valley, because it is just, I say it again, it's a blessing. It's a blessing to be able to talk about sports and good news in a world full of bad news. And I'm excited to maybe have a few more surprises in store for tomorrow night. One thing that we're going to talk about today as we switch gears, the main thing, and I'm not sure if this will go an hour or not, so it might be the Power half hour, might be the Power 45 minutes. But one thing that, you guys have kind of seen the kind of the highs and lows, right? So I've been here, I was here Monday and then didn't do a show until today. What I'm trying to do, and just be full transparency, is I'm trying to balance the business. I'm trying to balance a potential move, and I'm trying to balance a move for the business, not my family. A lot of stuff, and try to defend the town, and really be one of the many voices of East Palestine. So I know that a lot of you guys might be getting fed up with the inconsistency of what the Power Hour has become. We're going to work on that, certainly, to get that back to the Monday through Friday, 3 to 4, continuously here on YSN. But I'll tell you this, one of the coolest things that I can, and this isn't necessarily sports, but it really is, because when you're talking leadership, what's awesome is for us, the ability to have other people that networking that bring leaders to the table, and people that are influencers to the table. So yesterday, I was so fortunate as part of Compco's generosity. Matt Warner, Rick Frida, the names that you know so well, that I speak so highly of here in across YSN, were able to bring in Scott Mann, who, for those of you who don't know, a retired Green Beret, He led the Operation Pineapple Express over in Afghanistan just years ago. Many of us remember. I said Pineapple Express to a couple people, and they thought of the Seth Rogen movie. That's not the Pineapple Express I'm talking about. This is the Pineapple Express that they brought thousands of Afghans back, freed them, basically. This is a leader of leaders. And Scott Mann I had the great fortune to sit down with him from pillar to post yesterday, basically from the time I woke up till the time I went to sleep, and listen to not only his story, but have him listen to ours, and not just People of East Palestine, but as a business owner, as a leader of individuals, and a leader of a team, to have him break down, kind of how things should work. And he is a leader in the face of chaos, in the face of crisis, which I think having him on here at some point, I think we're going to trade off podcasts. I'm going to appear on his podcast. He's going to appear here on the Power Hour. There are so many different leaders, as in coaches and parents and, superintendents and athletic directors, that have been just absolutely exhausted. I mean, think about COVID, how much we expected and how much we placed on the plates of parents and athletic directors and coaches and superintendents. I mean, and over and over and over. Those are the leaders. Those are the hands down, unwavering leaders of our communities, of our kids, of our student athletes, of our young ones, right? And to come out of COVID and to try to, he said something last night during the training that really kind of caught my attention. And, I think we were expected to come out of 2 years of isolation and hug each other and kumbaya and all this stuff, when reality is we're still not going to see a full cycle of what COVID or what this train derailment in East Palestine has kind of affected, or how it's affected us. And I was really taken aback by that, because I guess everybody thought that we were going to be back on track, right? When COVID's over, we're just going to go back to where we were. We were going to be back to normal, doing things the way we were. And maybe I'm one of the few that have noticed this, but there is still a lot of hesitancy to getting back to normal. There's a lot of people that got very comfortable with being isolated during that time. Now, during that time, we also talked a lot about mental health. We also talked a lot about, the dangers of losing sports and losing extracurricular activities. But there was also a comfort that came with that, because now, more than ever, the individual is being, kind of in the spotlight here. We're talking about individuals rather than teams. We saw the sport of golf exploded. And while golf technically is a team sport, it really is an individual sport, if you think about it, and if you really break it down. So from my perspective, it's really interesting to watch all of this happen, and to have Scott Mann discuss leadership last night, and having him really understand that, kind of the way that the majority of us around here lead. And, you hear leaders eat last, and the law of the lid, and all these John Maxwell isms that are had. Scott wasn't familiar with kind of the leadership book, although he does read a lot of books. I'll tell you that. He could cite a lot of books, and did throughout the day, but he doesn't learn his leadership from the books. And I think that's what I appreciated the most out of the conversation yesterday, was his leadership came from real life experience. His leadership came from being a Green Beret, being a communicator, having to, instead of, we all love the movies and the ideals of SEAL teams, Navy SEALs and SEAL Team 6, everybody knows. And, the special forces and things of that nature, that, you go in, you accomplish your task, and then you're immediately taken out. of that vicinity. A Green Beret is kind of more like our leaders have to be nowadays, from the standpoint of you have to be able to communicate, and you have to be able to communicate at a very high level, and dealing with people you don't necessarily want to deal with all the time, right? So there's parents, listen, you might be the parent, if you don't know any of those parents, that drive you absolutely up the wall. There's coaches that drive you absolutely up the wall if you're a student athlete, or if you're a parent, or even sometimes if you're an administrator. There's people that drive you up the wall, but you can't single them out. You have to be the bigger person. You have to be the person that communicates and maybe takes the situation down a notch or two. The person who continuously understands that there's an end goal and can take from where you're at, where you are, I should say, not where you're at, where you are, and bring you down and help you move towards that common goal that everybody, whether it's a championship or whether it's just winning a game, whether it's just winning an inning, whether it's winning a quarter, whatever it might be, the common goal is always to win, learn, and do that. Nobody plans to lose. At least I don't think so. But for us to sit there in that space and hear him kind of talk about how Scott was, indigenous, and really went into the region and had to build relationships. That's what we're doing in sports more than anything. And then the storytelling and the struggles that we go through. It really was, it hit me hard. It hit me very hard. And I started thinking about and putting myself and personalizing each one of his bullet points into what we do in sports. And I think that, storytelling is going to be great, because I think the thing that I miss most isn't necessarily the per se of the actual games themselves, but it is the opportunities and to be on that bus with your friends before the game, after the game, and to have these conversations based around the experiences that you go through. What did you see? You talk about it in film all the time. What did you see? What did you go through? How can we get better? How can we learn to thrive and continue to get better and better and better? For us in sports, a lot of times it's joking around and having fun and being part of that solution and building those memories and building that history that each and every one of our schools maintains. Whether it's a championship-driven history or whether you're continually trying to fight yourself into that opportunity for a championship. You're building memories, you're telling stories, and you're creating stories forever, for the rest of time, that people can go back and be like, hey, do you remember when? And that's part of the leadership. When Scott talked about it, you have to be able to create those moments, help create those moments for those, so you can go back and whether it's making yourself better and telling stories to be able to relive those situations, but to be able holistically to be able to move on day after day, game after game, quarter after quarter, minute after minute, at bat after at bat, no matter what it might be. Leaders have to be able to lead through that and provide those opportunities for their players. So Scott, man, if you've never heard of him, you need to, and I'll be honest and say that the first time I heard of him was a little over a week ago, did a little research on him. Then I got excited because this guy he's one of the great Americans, and he spent some time with us in East Palestine to help us with our situation, but also, if you were wise enough to do so, you could take some of those teachings and apply them to your business or whatever your career may be. So excited for that. Not really a whole much going on. I mean, that you can hear behind me. It's starting to pack up here, as it usually does at athletics. I think that was the LeBray softball team that is going to be featured here tonight. But that's really it. I'm going to get to the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark here, and then we'll call it a wrap here on this Friday. Let you get out and get on to your week or weekend rather. And here we go. It's the Joe Dickey Electric Spark. Anything commercial, residential, anything electrical, make sure you're heading over to our friends at DickeyElectric.com. Tell them YSN sent you. So I feel like that whole meat of the show was a spark in itself, and kudos to our good friend Mr. Scott Mann, the retired Green Beret. But the real spark today is going to be just the opportunity to network continuously, with YSN, with being able to be out in kind of the limelight. I know that I'm going to have there's a story on WFMJ tonight about East Palestine and the spring sports. And that's kind of my spark today is watching people do what people do very well. Chris Neifer, I think an awful lot of, and he and Dwayne Pavkovich and a lot of people in East Palestine High School and East Palestine School District have done a phenomenal job of allowing their kids to continue to play sports when sports should be one of the last things that people think of, right? When it comes to school, it was the last thing that people thought of during COVID. They just wanted their kids back in the classroom. They wanted their, normalcy. They wanted this. East Palestine continues to, yes, school's first. Education's first and foremost, always. Safety, I should say, is first. School is secondary, and then sports are third. But I will say this, they have not missed a beat on any of it. And to me, I just absolutely applaud them for what they've been able to do throughout this entire process. And I know COVID was very tough and very difficult for, every district to get through. But for East Palestine, you have to feel like you're on an island right now. You have to feel like you are kind of by yourself. And I attended a meeting earlier this week. I want to say it was on Wednesday. Yes, it was Wednesday. That they invited athletic directors, they invited superintendents, they invited, basically anybody from the outer districts that wanted to attend to educate them, to bring in people from the Ohio EPA, to bring people in from the federal EPA, to bring in, Dr. Vanderhoof and many different people, experts in their fields, and to see kind of everybody else go through what we went through right now, because they're wondering, is it safe for our kids to come in? Is it safe for our teams to compete? Is that safe? And the answer is a resounding yes. The answer is a resounding yes, because we follow the science. We're listening to experts. There is no there are every turn there is some kind of doohickey or air filter or air monitoring and water monitoring device. To me, and I say this as my point of view, there's no place in the world I'd rather be right now that is monitoring air and pollutants and things of that nature, because they keep coming back with no levels. And that I actually feel safer from being in East Palestine, that people are monitoring our situation. It's kind of like, being in a police station, you know that you're safe, right? You know that you're safe in those circumstances because everything's monitored and you're around some of the safest people there. And if something went wrong, they would be the first to know about it. Just think about, the media is going to direct you in a certain direction that they want to direct their narrative. But I'll ask you this, if the media didn't feel safe, they wouldn't be there, right? They wouldn't be there at all. Same with politicians, same with, the people of the EPA, the people of Norfolk Southern, the people, all of that stuff, they wouldn't feel safe. Or if they didn't feel safe, they wouldn't be there. And the fact that they're saying, hey, it's okay, come in. And there's still people out there, which I understand there's a narrative. Everybody watches the news. Everybody sees, everybody thinks that we're growing, brand new appendages. It's not happening. It's not happening. And to go to an East Palestine track meet is going to be, I'm not going to say the same as it was, last year, but I'm going to say it means more for people of East Palestine to let them know that you stand with them, because it's hard to dance together from across the room. So those that are sheepish on East Palestine right now, I listen, I get it, but I can tell you that my family's there. I can tell you that many of the people that I love and care about in that town, they've remained, and some have gone, and some are really wanting to come back. And I'm telling you that if the science and the data provides the right numbers, and it may have been for some time now, then I'm one that's going to believe it. And I'm so proud of the East Palestine City School District, Chris Knifer, Dwayne Pavkovich, the athletic director, for doing great work in letting people know that it's okay, and educating people the right way, and understanding and sympathizing with people that are, seemingly nervous and scared, because truly we are too. But at the same time, it's like I said on national media, it's, if you're scared, get a dog. It's, and sports are no place to be nervous. So I hope everybody will join us in returning to East Palestine, and taking part in the festivities, whether it be a track and field meet, whether it be a baseball, softball game, whether it be anything, just coming and just being part of being with us. That's a big part and a big step for us in East Palestine, is to make sure people know that, we're safe, and you can be too, and frequenting our town. So thank you all very much for sitting with me for this half hour or so. Greatly appreciated. Hope you have a great weekend, and I hope to see you back on the Power Hour on Monday from 3 to 4 right here on your sports network. We'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Ysn thanks you for